Hey, this is Glenn Brown again. I wanted to, we're working our way through this miniature train project, and I had a request to show the wheel, how to design or how to draw the wheel. The wheel is, it's not, it looks, I don't know, when I first saw it, it looked complicated when I was first learning this, but it turns out it's not. There's just a few little, like everything else, there's just a few little tricks you got to figure out. So the first of those is how to draw it. So once again, when you're looking at things, you got to look at it and decide what the best way to draw it is. So on this one, uh, you might say, well, let me see, I'll draw a circle and then I'll extrude it and then I'll cut these holes into it. And you could do that. You could spend a whole lot of time fill it and stuff and cutting this hole in and then copying that around or whatever. But um, the most efficient way that I found was to use a revolve and in using that revolve, just drawing this part, just drawing this half of the wheel and then revolving it around. And so all you're going to do to do that is just use lines and a circle and the fillet command. Okay. Um, Nothing too tricky about that. All stuff that you've used in the past. One thing that you're going to notice here is when you start trying to draw this line, this first line, you're going to notice that there's no dimension telling you what the distance is there. In order to do that, you have to look further down here at the back of the wheel, and the back of the wheel shows a circle here, and it shows that circle, that hole is the same as this hole. So they give you on the drawing, they give you the diameter. Remember, the circle with the line through it is diameter of 0.280. And they have a note there that it goes all the way through. So that's your measurement for the center line to the first line. All right. So first we'll draw a line here, here, here. We'll draw a circle here. I like to just put some random lines in and then just come back and dimension them, and then dimension that distance for the circle, and then draw in these two lines here, and then revolve. So let's get started. We'll do this in two parts. The first part will just be drawing the wheel. The second part will be drawing the slots and this linkage hub, or this hub for the linkage arm afterwards. So first, like always, we'll go into Inventor. We're using Inventor here, but these techniques are very usable on other types of software, other types of solid modeling software. So File, New, Standard IPT. We'll open up a new file now. So now we've got a new environment to draw our part in. As always, we're going to start with a 2D sketch, and we're going to choose our plane to draw in. So remember, top, front, right side. So if we go back and look at we have to decide which plane to draw it in. So if we go back and look at the drawing, and we go up to the assembly, we see that the wheel is positioned this way on the train itself. So remember, we have front, top, and right side. So it looks like, since we're just going to draw that one part in right there and then revolve it, it looks like it'll be best for us to draw from the top view. So we'll go back to our file. We'll click the top view. Remember that because of the coordinate system of Inventor, it typically turns 90 degrees when you click the top view, and you just have to go over here to the side and rotate it back to where it says top the way it should. All right, so now we're ready to go. So like I said, I usually just come in and I draw several random lines. I start at 0, 0, but the length is random. So I've got that one. That one will eventually be used for my revolution, my axis to revolve around. Then I'm going to put another line in here. Right click and OK. And then I'm going to put one more. Right click OK. And then one more down here. Okay. After that, and these lines, I'm not dimensioning the length of them or anything. I'm just drawing these that are, if you look at the drawing, you can see that the overall width of this part is only going to be 0.25. So any line that's greater than about 1 inch is going to be fine. So when you're drawing these lines, just draw them longer than 1 inch and you should be okay. All right, so now I'm going to draw a circle, and from the drawing we can see that this circle, this is a semicircle here, but we'll draw that, we'll make that semicircle out of a complete circle, and you can see here that it gives the dimension of 0.25. That would be the diameter of the circle. So if I go back here, I've got my circle command. I come out here and just put my center on the axis here. And then I just come out and say key in 0.25, because remember that Inventor draws circles in diameters and not in radius. So 0.25. All right, so now I've got all the things I need to take care of this first step. Now I'm just going to go in and dimension them. So if we look at the drawing, we can see, remember what we said down here, that this hole that goes through at the center is 0.208. It's a diameter of that. So this distance here is going to be half of 0.208. So I'll dimension from the center line to that line. I'll make it 0.208. And then I'll divide it by 2, because we're only drawing half of the wheel, and then we're going to revolve it into its full measurement. So I've got that. Now I'm going to dimension the next one. So the next one, some of my students make the mistake of dimensioning. They don't dimension from the center line. They dimension from the line we just drew. And so just make sure you're careful of that. Make sure that you notice that all of these dimensions, the 0.25 that we're about to dimension, the 0.75 that we're about to dimension, and the 1.0 that we're about to dimension, all of them, all those dimension lines are originating from that center line, okay? So let's go in and dimension our next one. So the next one will be from here to here, and that is going to be 0.25. And then the next one, looking at our drawing, the next one will be 0.75, which will give us that edge there. So from the center out to here, 0.75. And then lastly, the circle. Oh, and our circle, even though I tried, I did not get it on the line, on the axis. So I don't know. For me, when I do that, I just go here, draw a line on the axis, use a dimension. Use a dimension from here to the center of the circle and make that 0. And then it moves it to there. Then now I can dimension it 1 inch from here to the center. So dimension, so from here to the center of that circle, I'm going to make that 1 inch. Okay. So now we have everything that we need for in that part of the wheel. Now we're just going to finish out our general shape. So we're going to go back and get a line, and we're going to, this is the empty space of the hole right here. So we don't draw any line in there. So we're just going to go from, we're going to snap to the top of the circle and go in to this line here. Right click on OK. Then we're going to go from the bottom to this line here. And if you go a little past, it's no problem. If you draw that line and it ends up crooked, that's really no problem either, because you can just use horizontal or vertical constraint to pull it into where you want it. Okay. So now also, if you have an issue where you have something that goes over here, you can just trim that off. Okay, no big deal. So next, now we're doing, we just want to create our shape. So we have this line here, we have our line going down the middle, which is going to be that line there. So now we just need to use trim and kind of clean up and find our shape within all of this. So there, we're going to go there and there. We're going to go get rid of that. We'll get rid of that. We'll take that out. So now we have this short line that's 0.208. That may give us a problem, but no worries. We just draw a line over top of it. Say okay. Now we can come in, trim away that, trim away that. And now we have the general shape of our wheel, okay? Lastly, we want to round off these corners, okay? So if we look here, we've got our radius for the fillet, 0.0625. The TYP here stands for typical. That means every one of these curves here, every one of these fillets are going to be a radius of 0.0625. So now let's go back, go to fillet, fill in our dimension 0.0625. Don't press enter, just leave it. And then now you just go choose either side of the corner that you want to fillet. We'll go there and there, we'll go there and there. Okay. And now we have the curve. So now we can get out of that. That looks really good. That looks like our good general shape. We can go back and go, yep, I feel good about that. So now all we need to do, like always, we finish our sketch. You may be saying, hey, Brown, what about the line there or that extra line that's in there? That is not going to make a difference, because when you finish your sketch and you come in and click revolve, the software is going to ignore those extra lines. So when you highlight it, see, I'm highlighting that closed loop. When I highlight it, it's going to just ignore those. Then I'm going to tell it, hey, I want to show you what axis I want to use. So in an older version of Autodesk or Inventor, you would just click the button for axis. If you're using a newer version, you click the red letters that say select axis, and then come over here and just select the first line that you drew. So that, remember, that line right there that I'm highlighting, that is our center line. That's that line there. So we want to revolve around that. So we're going to select that as our axis. Click that. It looks good. We'll zoom out, check it out. Looks good. Click OK. So that is our wheel. that is the start of our wheel. So we'll call this part 1. And then we'll move on to part 2, where we'll put the slots in and we'll put the linkage hub on. All right. So don't forget, if you're enjoying these videos and they're being helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And share if you feel this could benefit some of your friends. Thank you. Have a good day.